Hello, this is Rohan, and today, it's gonna be the end of year 2025 video. And yeah, 2025 has been a very interesting year, that's a dang sure. I did play quite a variety of games, and then on the playthrough side, it was basically only Persona 2, but I did also get to play Kirby Sweet Squad and Castlevania Aria Sora. I'm currently playing Tokyo Extreme Racer, which, yeah, that's also been pretty fun playthrough. Yeah, pretty much this year on the playthrough side of things, yeah, it was basically only Persona 2 television, but because like I kind of said before, it was a game I really liked, and yeah, I didn't mind covering it for so long and also trying to show as much as I can. So yeah, including doing that EX dungeon. So yeah. But anyway, this is to the games I played in my own time, and yeah, I still do the reviews on Backlog, and still listen to other reviews about these games as well, listen to replies as well, all that good stuff. So yeah. So there's three games here that will get their own section, mainly because I'm covering them elsewhere, but I can give a brief synopsis about them. We'll cover Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered because yeah, I already gave its own dedicated video basically, so yeah. And yeah, that was that was a pretty fun video in its own right. But yeah, once again, yeah, played this game for a long time, still really enjoy it. Just love how, pick up and play it is. Like the gameplay variety, despite, both sides playing pretty similarly, driving wise. But the fact that, yeah, racers need to, evade the cops in a hot pursuit, the cops have to, bust them in a hot pursuit, yeah. That's enough gameplay variety for me. And then, of course, you got the fun car roster, very good car sounds too, and again, it's just, one of those games like, yeah, I know I can just, pick up, play, and have a good time playing. That's why I decided to, get it in the first place on Steam as well. I really wanted to show that as well. So, yeah. See, a very fun game, that one. There's also Tokyo Extreme Racer, obviously, and the reason why I'm not covering it here, even though it is my gear of the year, actually, is because, yeah, I'm covering on the channel and I'm already talking about enough as this, so yeah. But yeah, there is a reason why it's game of the year, obviously. You could tell from my playthrough so far, I'm just having so much fun, playing the game, talking about it, going through it. I mean, I haven't even gone to the best bits too. I do think that, yeah, despite what I was thinking going in, the game actually improved. I think the game actually improves when we get past the early access stage. I thought the early access stage would be better because basically more people are playing it, so yeah. So then it felt like, yeah, more people are playing the early access, so yeah, I assume that, yeah, then, more people play test it and then it'll be more refined. I do think that, yeah, it does feel a bit more refined than later on in the game, which we might talk about. But I think, yeah, the highs of the post early access points of the game really make up for it, so yeah. So, I love fun though. And of course, yeah, just everything else about the game and what it represents too. Like, yeah, Tokyo Extreme Racer is back, and yeah, it sounds like the game is doing pretty good too. They'll even cut the console too, so I do hope that, yeah, either Genki, keeps giving updates, because this game does have free DLC, which we'll talk about later. Or, they start working on their next game. And yeah, there's still a lot to improve, I feel like, on the Tokyo Extreme Racer formula. So yeah, and maybe, we'll go over that as well, obviously. Maybe some of the things that I think that can be improved. But also, yeah, there's also stuff that Genki could also go ahead and make a Kaido battle game too, which would be really cool as well. But we'll see what happens. And the last game is Mario Kart World, because I did get to play this a little bit with my brother, and I guess that's also a good segue to talk about the Nintendo Switch 2 a little bit. So yeah, I don't have too much to say about it because I only had 2 games for it, but I do think it's actually a pretty decent console. Again, it is a little bit pricey, but at least it's a bit cheaper than like getting the PS5 Pro, for example. That thing is a bit overpriced for what it is, so yeah. But yeah, I think it's fine. But yeah, games can be a little bit pricey though, so you do need to, pick and choose basically. You need to pick and choose your battles very carefully. But yeah, games run very good. Both the games I played on the Switch 2 run pretty good. That includes Mario Kart World, obviously. So I think it's a pretty fun console. And yeah, hopefully things will go better for it in 2026 as well. So yeah, I don't regret getting it. And yeah, I don't regret the fact that, yeah, I got to play 2 pretty decent games on it, including Mario Kart World, obviously. So Mario Kart World, yeah, it's a pretty alright kart race, I'd say. I don't know if I would like it more than Star Race Across Worlds because I do think that yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't think I'm not sure if I really like it because again, I think it kind of comes down to how I really feel about the advanced tech. I think that's the number one thing because I'm not really good at it at the moment. So if I get better at it, who knows? Maybe that'll change my opinion. Maybe for the better, maybe for the worse, it's hard to say. Like, yeah, I was discussing this with my brother too. He thinks that, yeah, I might actually not like the game as much with the advanced text. That's pretty interesting. But anyway. So, yeah, so that's a little something to think about too. But anyway. So, anyway, yeah, again, I do like playing it though, like with my brother going through the Grand Prix and stuff. We still haven't done like a lot in the game, like, we still need to do the knockout course as well, so yeah. That's something else to think about as well. But yeah, I think it's a fine kart race, and yeah, if you can get it along with the Switch, I do recommend giving it a shot. See if you like it. Is again, driving still feels good. Again, items can still be a bit annoying, but that's just kind of the nature with kart races like this, so it's fun. And then yeah, again, it's like I don't know. It's a hard game to rank them because yeah, I haven't played the competition. I feel like that's kind of the thing, and again, I feel like there is a little bit of bias when it comes to other games. Like yeah, I would prefer to play Need for Speed Odyssey Remastered, but I feel like there's a little bit bias towards that. So yeah, so again, hard to say. It's hard to say that I really like Mario Kart World, but I think it's still a fun game. I still have fun playing, and I think that's the most important part. So yeah, and again, if I do play the competition, like yeah, could be Air Riders, Sonic Puzzles, then maybe I can form a more interesting opinion. But at the moment, yeah, again, the game does what it needs to, and again, it is very different from Mario Kart 8 as well. So I think that's fine as well. So yeah, that was a long time talking about those games, but anyway. No other game really comes to mind. I've been watching my brother play these kind of games too. Like, we've seen all of the Final Fantasy 7. We've seen all of Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, which is really cool. I think we played the remake last year, so yeah. So I got to experience that. I got to experience some other games with him too that we may talk about. He's been playing a lot of other games too, so yeah. He's also had a pretty interesting year as well, but yeah. I think, yeah, with that done, that's the intro over. Let's actually go on to talking about these games now. Well, the first game I played this year, it's actually a game I played a few years ago, but we're going to be revisiting it because, yeah, there's a lot of changes. I wouldn't say a lot of changes, there's a few changes. So, yeah, we're going to be talking about Tokyo Extreme Racer 3. So, yeah, I did play this the year when I started getting into this series, and yeah, we're talking about more Tokyo Extreme Racer games because, yeah, as it turns out, this game was also pretty good for the series outside of Tokyo Extreme Racer 2025. So yeah, I really wanted to play this. There was a couple of reasons why. Like I think I mentioned in one of my update videos that yeah, I had problems with the battery on my laptop, and yeah, this was the only game I felt like playing during that time. So yeah, that was one thing. And of course, I think the main reason why was, yeah, we got some patches. So one fixed the cutscene that was broken. It would normally just crash the game in the original, and that was actually a localization change that made that happen, so great work, Crave. And the other one is obviously another great work, Crave moment, because yeah, it relates to the two Wanderers, Whirlwind Fanfare and Exotic Butterfly, the two that require money. And yeah, once again, Crave broke the money. How it was implemented. So yeah, because again they wanted to change the money so it was more like dollars, but because of that they forgot to also change the requirements for World Fanfare and Exotic Butterfly. So yeah, without cheats they were basically impossible to race. So it's impossible. So it's pretty much impossible to get 100% unless yeah you cheat. But that's not really a problem anymore thanks to patches. So now we can play the game naturally, and that's basically what I did in my playthrough. So yeah, so that was great. Great way to actually experience this game for the first time, of course. I do think that, yeah, Tokyo Extreme Racer 3 also has some route variety too, kind of like TXR 2025 as well. Like, yeah, you do need to think about, yeah, what car you're going to be focusing on, maybe because of engine slots needing a lot of mileage, but anyway. So, yeah, just like, the other TXR games, it plays like what you expect. You challenge your rivals in SP battles, you drain their SP to defeat them, and then defeat enough rivals or rivals in a team, the team leader shows up, and progressing with enough, or being enough team leaders will progress by making the boss appear, and then yeah, normally being the boss in all the areas will mean you beat the stage. So yeah. But of course, what makes TXR3 stand out a lot though is the fact that yeah, there's 3 locations. You have Tokyo, but you also have Osaka and Nagoya. So Osaka, pretty interesting place too, because yeah, it was in another game that I think I watched the playthrough this year, the Certified Strikers. And yeah, those are those are a lot of interesting things because of that. Like there was one team that reminded me of something in the Certified Strikers that's referenced, so yeah, that was pretty cool. But yeah. Driving it is pretty interesting too, and it has some pretty dangerous teams, mainly the boss team at the end. And even the boss team in the first stage isn't no such either, so yeah. I think Osaka's actually kind of dangerous, so you like to take it on first as a good chance, so yeah. And after that's Nagoya. Nagoya is all about high speed. Both of the sections that you have access to are basically all straight, and yeah. It also has a special dangerous rivals because of that, so yeah, all the bosses in Nagoya's second part are quite dangerous, but yeah. Both also have a very interesting atmosphere to them, especially because, yeah, something interesting is that each area has its own soundtrack, although you can adjust it. And I feel like, yeah, the ones that are on default really put the areas that they are associated. Like, Nagoya sounds really intense, and then Tokyo sounds a lot more hopeful. It's kind of interesting. And then, of course, Tokyo is no such either, because again, the C1 is still the C1, the one gun's still the one gun, especially with some of the most difficult rivals in the game, so yeah. So, yeah. Again, that's what makes Tokyo Extreme Racer freestyle. And also the fact that, yeah, before, you know, Import Challenge, Tokyo Extreme Racer 2025 was definitely the most accessible game in the series too, in terms of gameplay. It wasn't too outrageous like Tokyo Extreme Racer 0 was sometimes, so yeah, that definitely helped the gameplay a little bit, I think, so yeah. And of course, I do like how the routes go, like, yeah, in Stage 1, you need to think about what car you're gonna get. Like for this playthrough, I went after Tokyo first so I could go get the Super Impreza. And then in stage 2, I was able to engine swap it, and yeah, it was dominant. So yeah, it's definitely one of the best cars in the game because it's lightweight, all-wheel drive, and with the engine swap, it gets really good. So yeah, but there are definitely some other cars, like I used an RX-7 in my first playthrough, and in a future playthrough, I want to try an R32 route. So yeah, so there's a lot of interesting things to think about. So yeah. When it comes to TXR3 and how it plays out. And of course, yeah, Wanderers, they're probably the worst in this series, to be fair. Maybe outside of some in Tokyo Extreme Racer 0, because, yeah, one was, you know, the money requirement ones, but some of them are just really annoying. Like Funabashi Hooligan, needing you to visit all the parking areas, and then Night King need to randomly honk your horn somewhere randomly, so you know, stuff like that, you know, so yeah, luckily we don't have to worry about that as much in Tokyo Extreme Racer 2025, so yeah. But even despite that though, the game didn't really, you know, annoy me outside of the Wanderers, because I think the difficulty is fine, especially if you know what you're doing, so yeah. So yeah, I think yeah, everything comes together to make Tokyo Extreme Racer 3 one of the best games to play first. Although I would probably recommend, of course, Tokyo Extreme Racer 2025, just because it's a lot more accessible, both in terms of gameplay and in terms of getting it, so yeah. So there's that. But I do recommend checking out Tokyo Extreme Racer 3 if you did enjoy, you know, 2025 obviously, so yeah. Is again, like I said, if you do have those patches, you get to play that game naturally. I do think that, yeah, it really stands out. And I'm glad that, yeah, I was able to give it another go by doing that. And yeah, there's definitely a game I want to revisit again with different routes. So yeah. So yeah, probably won't be the last time you hear me talking about it, but yeah, it is what it is. So anyway. So that done, yeah, let's go on to the next game. It's another Genki racing game, interesting enough. And next we have Racing Battle C1 Grand Prix, a very interesting Genki racing game, as it never released outside Japan. But thanks to the translation patch, we are able to play it now. And that's mainly because, yeah, again, navigating through menus obviously is a lot easier when it's all in English, but also because of the rivals still having, you know, information, they even talk on the PBS as well, and even talk to you in the pit areas, yeah, it's definitely very important to get all that translated, so yeah. So anyway, The thing about Racing Ball's C1 Grand Prix is not only is it Genki's take on a circuit racing game like Gran Turismo, for example, but also, yeah, it kind of combines a lot of aspects from other TXR games too. Like, for example, there's the SP battles. That's one of the free game modes, just like the other TXR games, like, the mainline Tokyo Extreme Racer games, and then two of the tracks in the game too, or three of them, I should be saying. And two of them are the C1 loop, and then one of them is Osaka's loop as well. So yeah, you got some areas on Tokyo Extreme Racer 3 right there. Then there's the drift battles. These are kind of similar to Tokyo Extreme Racer Drift, and it's 3 games, or the Kaido Battle games I should be saying, where yeah, you need to drift in certain areas, score a lot of points. It's actually a lot more manageable in this game and compared to the Kaido Battle games, just because it feels a lot easier to set up a drift car on full on your own, which I'll talk about later. And finally, there's the RP battles, where it's like a regular race in a racing game, just to beat your opponents, and the races have laps and stuff, but this in Genki, there are definitely some interesting things added. Like, for example, you still have to worry about tire wear, oil temperature, and water temperature like you would in other TXR games. So you need to use the pits to cool down your engine and also pit with the tires, so yeah. And then there's even a penalty system too, where if you lose too many RP points, you have to serve a penalty, and if you run out of RP points, you get disqualified. So yeah, that can be quite a bit of a challenge on the C1 loop and Osaka, because yeah, you're going to be hitting the walls a lot. So yeah, you want to be careful of that. So those are the 3 main game modes you're going to be playing, and you need to beat the rivals, the teams, because there's still teams in this game, and then yeah, a master will come out once you've beaten all the teams in the field, and then yeah, you keep progressing as you go on. Eventually, yeah, you'll unlock all the tracks in the game, you'll buy a lot of different masters in the game, and then yeah, you'll make it to the C1 GP, where you have to fight the 3 best, or 5 best, I'm pretty sure. It's either 3 or 5. You need to fight the 3 or 5 best rivals in each section. Or you need to fight the 5 best rivals in each discipline, basically, is what I was trying to say. And yeah, I'm pretty sure this is fine now I think about it, but anyway. So yeah, that was interesting too. Doing that at the end, and yeah, being that will give you the first crest in the game, but then if you want to get 100%, you need to beat every rival in the game in all 3 disciplines. And that also includes the Wanderers, because there are Wanderers on this game. But luckily, though, they're not too bad. The requirements are decently lax. I think there was only one Wanderer that was a little bit tricky for me that got near the end of the game, so yeah. So not too bad. As long as you're looking out for Wanderers and also realize that they need certain types of cars, it's not too bad to deal with them, so yeah. Man, in terms of driving, I feel like Racing Battle does have an edge up over some of the other TXR games. It feels a little bit easier to manage. And the main reason why is because the tuning in the game is actually guided. Basically, the game does give you suggestions on how you should tune your car for each discipline. And these are actually really solid. Like, it gives you a really good baseline of what you should be looking for. And yeah, with just, following the guidance, you can make a pretty good grip car that is able to beat SP and RP battles pretty easily. And yeah, it also gives you pointers on the drifting too. The drift car was definitely a little bit interesting, but yeah, it managed to give me, it managed to be good enough to power me through all the drift events. So yeah, so that was great. So yeah. Not only that though, there's some other neat things too, like yeah, you can get items from the Super Autoback shop. These give you like either passive buffs, or they can help make the 3 types of events easier by equipping them in like an inventory and stuff. So yeah, that's also really interesting too. And of course the customization is pretty crazy, like I showed in like I was showing in the gameplay. Not only that though, but yeah, the game really does want you to experiment. There's a lot of weird cars in this game too, like the Suzuki Carry that I was driving, so yeah. But there's also like minivans and stuff in this game too, it's very interesting. But yeah, the cool thing is though is that yeah, you do have a lot of money to play around with, and upgrades actually unlock quite quickly in this game. Like for example, you can get an engine slot by only doing 25% completion, and then once you have that, you can really mess around with a lot of builds, so yeah. there's definitely a lot of player expression in this game, and maybe even more so compared to the other TXR games. Especially considering that, yeah, there's a bit more lenience, obviously, because of there's a little bit of lenience because of you having more money to play with, and also the fact that there are two distinct driving styles with just the basic driving and the drifting. So you probably need at least 2 cars for each, and then more cars obviously for wanderers. So a lot of interesting things to think about this game, and it was definitely very fun to play. So much fun that instead of playing the next game we're going to be talking about, I wanted to play this game instead, which, that's probably sacrilege, considering, the game we're going to be talking about, but this game is just really fun. Just like the other TXR games and Genki racing games, it really just sunk into me, and really made me want to, keep playing it. So, it's a really interesting game, and I'm glad that I finally got the chance to check it out because it probably would have been very hard otherwise translation patch. So this is definitely a fun one to play. Again, I'm also sure if it's as good as the best TXR games because again, I don't know if it's as addicting as those because the progression can be a little slow with needing to beat all the rivals in all 3 types, but it's fine though. Again, I think it's serviceable, so but hey, maybe you like this game more than the mainline TXR games, well, you just have to find out, I guess. But I think it's just below the best, I think. That's how I view it, so But anyway, let's go on to talk about that next game that I teased a little bit. Next, let's talk about Legend of Heroes Trails to Azure. So this is the game I decided to not prioritize over Racing Battle C1 Grand Prix, which, like I said, a bit of sacrilege because people consider this maybe the best game in the whole Trails series, and that's saying a lot. But I can definitely see why though. I think mainly for me it's because of the plot, but we'll go with the gameplay first because there's 2 main things that I really like about Trails to Azure's gameplay. New things I should be saying, new characters I should be saying. So one of them is the introduction to Master Quartz. Now, quartz they can equip at the center of your ordnance. And basically, these can give you like additional perks. Like, you start with quartz that basically give you stat buffs, and that's mainly what they're going to be doing in this game. And these are extremely useful. Like, you're going to be getting a lot of value out of these throughout the whole game, obviously. But the enemies are a lot stronger to counter that, though. Now that you have that extra power, so it's pretty cool. And just like in the future games like Cold Steel, these do also provide more build variety too, and there's even some combos too, with some builds as well. Like evasion tanks are very, very important in this game, and they wouldn't be super great without a certain Master Quartz. So so that's something to consider. There's also some like other cool things too, like Burst, for example. Burst is extremely interesting because it can be used to basically give you quick turns in battles, but it's an interesting resource because it actually goes away if you don't use it. So you need to think about how you're going to make the most out of it. And in boss fights it's very important. You need Burst to basically conquer some of these extremely difficult battles that you're going to be doing later on. Luckily though, you do have Burst Orbs to help you out, so that's pretty interesting too. So again, the new gameplay additions are really interesting too, but there's obviously some other things too, like more playable characters now. You now, starting out, you actually get like, you're basically like a party of 6 compared to a party of 4 from before, so thanks to 2 new recruits into your squad, so and they're pretty fun to play with too. That's of course Noel and Washi. They're both very good characters, obviously, so and that's the thing too, even though again, I don't think the gameplay is as good as Cold Steel 1 and 2, because those games, like, they feel perfect for me when it comes to Trails gameplay. But I think, what Azure does to keep up with those games is the plot. I do think it is probably the best plot in the series because, just all the important events that happens, all of the character moments that happens too, it's just so strong in this game. And you're gonna be emotionally Um, you're either gonna feel very emotional after some bits. I know I sure did near the end of the game, so yeah. And yeah, not only do we have good characters on your side, but yeah, the villains are also really interesting too. And finding out about who the masterminds of the plot were, yeah, kind of felt just like Trails from Zero. Finding out who the culprit of that game was, basically, yeah. And also the fact that yeah, they're small time when compared to the threat of this game too. So yeah, definitely glad I got to play this, and also glad that I also got to experience Crossbill as well in its entirety. And it does make me wonder, what is gonna happen with Crossbill in the future? Because yeah, from what I heard, it could be the next remake after second chapter. And skipping over the Sky the Third, which again, that's cool and all, but I wonder what they could do to improve on already extremely good duology games, so yeah. So that's something to consider, but yeah. I just really, really like this game. I can definitely see why people consider it one of their favorite games of the year. That's saying a lot because, I don't think it's Game of the Year because, again, that's just how important Tokyo Extreme Racer 2025 is to me, so yeah. But it is pretty close, though, I must admit. So, yeah. And, of course, there are some other great games I played this year, too. Some other meaningful games, too. So, yeah, we'll definitely get into those. But, yeah. Now, though, I completed the Crossbill games. So, I think it's now time I go back to Cold Steel. So, let's talk about that. Alright, let's talk about Trails of Cold Steel 3. So, yeah. After playing the Crossbill games, I thought it was now finally time to get to Cold Steel 3, obviously. So, a bit of a disclaimer is the fact that, yeah, I did play the Switch version of the game, which, yeah, it definitely felt like the game was pushing the console's limits, so, yeah, it didn't feel like unplayable or anything like that, but, yeah, if you are thinking of playing this and you want better performance, then, yeah, probably avoid the Switch. Maybe play on the Switch 2 instead, see if it runs a bit smoother there, so yeah. And that's something we'll need to think about, obviously, but anyway, so yeah, let's talk about Cold Steel 3 a little bit. So yeah, so the new gameplay features are quite interesting, I must admit. They really do transform the gameplay from Cold Steel 2 to Cold Steel 3 to make it feel like completely different. So yeah. Of course, I think the two main things is the brake system and the order system. So brake is similar to stun in the new Trails in the Sky FC remake, where yeah, the enemies have a gauge, and if it gets lowered, then yeah, they enter basically the stun state where yeah, you can basically wail on them. With follow attacks and stuff, you can even do more damage at certain quads too. And yeah, it's quite powerful in this game, maybe borderline overpowered or broken, because yeah, with the right setups, it can be very easy to break the enemy, and then yeah, making use of orders too alongside it, yeah, you can basically kill an enemy before they even have a chance to act sometimes, which yeah, quite satisfying, I must admit. So yeah, and that makes the combat feel very interesting in its own unique way. Now, of course, there's the orders. So before in the older Cold Steel games, you only really used your BP for extra follow-up attacks or basically bursts, I believe is what they're called, basically party-wide attacks, like all-out attacks. But now, yeah, you also can use your BP on orders, and these basically give you passive plus for a few turns. Like, for example, immediate status, extra damage, extra break damage, reflecting all damage, stuff like that. So yeah. So pretty much yeah, what you want to do in this game is yeah, your BP is extremely important. Trying to get a lot of BP before a battle begins really helps out a lot, and yeah. And of course, strategizing around your what you have available too is extremely important as well. It's really interesting, and it also does make party composition interesting thing about too, because yeah. The good thing about the orders though is that even if the character isn't in the battle, as long as they're in the reserves, you can still use their orders, so yeah. So that's something interesting to think about. So yeah, these two really transform the gameplay in my opinion and make it feel its own, basically, so yeah. But yeah, I think the problem though when compared to like Trails to Ashuto is yeah, it feels like in most cases that the game is a little bit easy with its mechanics, I feel like. But not like super brain dead or anything like that, and there are still some tricky battles, mainly with limited party section, or just less party members in general, so yeah. Those are definitely the more difficult battles, so you need to be thinking very hard about how you're going to deal with the enemies. I do think that, yeah, enemies are definitely a bit more fair in this game too, which is not a bad thing. Like, yeah, if they're gonna use an S-craft, you'll know it's coming because they do charge it up and telegraph it, so yeah. So that's definitely nice, then yeah, you can obviously counter with either an order or something else, so yeah. So that's good to know. So yeah, quite different from Coastal 1 2, but I do think that, yeah, you'll still understand it too. And yeah, there's definitely some other cool things too that are like quality of life and stuff. Like, for example, the assault attacks that, yeah, you can basically use to instantly get triple advantage, which is really cool. So, yeah. Again, there's a lot to like with the gameplay in this game, I must admit. Again, I don't think the story is as good as Shoujo, obviously, but I still think that, yeah, there's a very interesting plot going on here. Like, yeah, the characters in the plot do develop quite a bit. There's quite a lot of characters to think about too, although, yeah, that does come at the cost of, some characters not getting development. But I did like, some of the characters that did, end up developing a little bit, so yeah. Sounds interesting too. The end of the game I'm a bit mixed on, but we'll see how that plays out obviously with the next game because it is a massive cliffhanger, so yeah. But again, we'll talk about that another day probably, so yeah. But yeah, I really like Cold Steel 3. There's a lot of interesting things going on about this game too, like this is the first game I decided to basically note down my playthrough while I was on my Discord server. Basically, I basically noted down everything I did and my thoughts on it. Basically, as a substitute to actually playing the game on the channel, basically, because again, I can't record. I couldn't record Cold Steel 3 back then. Although with Cold Steel 4, technically I could record it, so maybe things will change a little bit, who knows. But probably not gonna do a playthrough on the channel, but hey, I could record footage though, so we'll see about that. But yeah, and also yeah, this could have been my first Trails game too, because yeah, one of my friends recommended it. But interesting enough, well, there's two reasons. I looked at the gameplay, I didn't think it was that interesting when compared to Sky the Third for some reason. And then I also got recommendation to not play this and instead play Cold Steel 1. So yeah, so that's kind of interesting. There's a bit of history of this game, so it's kind of cool to conquer it finally, and then yeah. End up being very interested too. So yeah, there's just a lot of interesting things going on in this game. I didn't even go into a lot of detail about the sub-master course. It's basically like another master course. It's not as good as a regular master course, but it does lead to more build variety. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on in this game. Like yeah, build variety, player expression seems quite good in this game to be fair. So yeah, and of course yeah, I'm very curious about Cold Steel 4. I've heard mixed things about it, so we'll see how I feel about it. But for the time being now, let's move on to our next game. We're done for Trailsoul this year, because I didn't get to play the Sky remake, because again, I want to see how things go with Erebonia first, let's just say. So yeah, like I said, let's move on to something a little bit different this time. Let's talk about Kirby Superstar Ultra now. So, I got to play this game because, yeah, I managed to finally get to play it with my brother, because, yeah, with emulation, it's not possible to do that, and yeah, we needed the game to play while we waited for my brother to get an SSD for his desktop so he could play Final Fantasy Rebirth. So yeah, we did that, and yeah, we got to play Superstar Ultra together, which yeah, that was something I always wanted to do because yeah, I had a lot of fun playing the original Superstar with my brother back in the day. So yeah, it was fun to finally do that with this game because yeah, this game yeah, it's considered one of the greatest remakes out there because yeah, it basically does everything that the original game did, but adds even more on top. So yeah, everything from the original game is still here, like yeah, all the different game modes and the same game modes too, and yeah, lots of gameplay variety with Superstar and Superstar Ultra. Like yeah, it starts off pretty basic with Green Greens, very simple remake of the original Dreamland. Then things get interesting with Dynablade having that world map to go through, and also having secret eggs and stuff. The Great Cave Offensive having treasure to find and being a bit more open in terms of level design. And then Meta Knight's Revenge, which has a time limit, which makes you play a little bit faster, I guess. And then, yeah, things cap off with a really cool final mode in Milky Way Wishes, which, yeah, you go from planet to planet, and again, it kind of mixes in a lot of different aspects. Like, yeah, there's still stuff to collect in terms of the coffee abilities, so yeah, sounds interesting too. And yeah, you obviously got the end of the original story there too, so yeah. And then after that, you have the arena where you could fight all the bosses. So yeah, that's all still kept intact and still feels very good to play because yeah, game still feels very nice to control. And of course, that definitely helps that yeah, this game gives the abilities full movesets the first time. So yeah, there's a lot of fun that can be had because of that. But then, of course, if Ultra decides to notch things up a tiny bit because yeah, the new game modes, for example, like Revenge of the King, which is like a remix version of the original Dreamland EX mode, which is very interesting. And yeah, you got the more difficult boss fights too, more difficult enemies. That's generally how it goes, and also more difficult level design. There's also Helper to Hero, which is like the arena, but you use on the helpers instead. And yeah, that was interesting because yeah, it definitely made me play a lot better when it comes to some powers in the game, and also told me to not be so greedy sometimes. Which yeah, that became a meme between the two of us. So yeah. And then of course there's Meta Knight Net Ultra. It's the standard Meta Knight game mode where you need to play fast, but he also has his powers too. Which, yeah, that was interesting to see my brother play through because he was player 1 for that one. I was player 1 for basically everything else, so yeah. And then, yeah, to cap things off, the True Arena, where all the new bosses are, but it's a lot harder, despite being a lot shorter. And then, yeah, you also have much less healing as well. This one felt very interesting to conquer in the multiple ways it did. Like, yeah, you need to again, I think one thing about it is that compared to like future games, especially something like Planet Robot, for example, which I have actually played, this Shurina isn't too long, so you can definitely learn it and get very good at it. So yeah, that's something I appreciate. And yeah, I'm finally glad I got to experience it because yeah, I really love the Shurinas in Kirby games. So yeah, it's great to see the very first one. So yeah, and then how the game ends with that new ending you get the Trinidad. That was also really interesting to see as well. So yeah. And yeah, multiplayer was also very fun too. And I do definitely recommend it if you're able to do it because yeah, it's much better to have an actual person control the helper than the AI. So yeah. But yeah, outside of all that, yeah, it's still, everything that makes Kirby, simple gameplay, not too difficult most of the time, but can be challenging if you so wish it, like with the Trinas, for example. And then, yeah, you obviously got good gameplay variety with all the different powers, and yeah, decent in the level design too. I don't think it's as good as maybe like Triple Deluxe, for example. I think Triple Deluxe has some of the best level design in the Kirby series when it comes to levels. But yeah, Silver Ultra though, yeah, still, with the game modes and stuff, I can definitely see why people consider this game their favorite in the series, and I can definitely see why. It's definitely one of my favorite games I've played this year, especially because, just how nice it felt, playing alongside my brother here, so yeah. Definitely recommend this one, and definitely recommend it if you're able to, play it alongside a friend or something like that. And yeah, playing that definitely was a big influence into why I decided to play Sleet Squall on the channel, so yeah. And yeah, it was also good to experience that game finally too, so yeah. But anyway, I should mention that, yeah, before we do talk about the next game, I did actually do another playthrough from Engage Madly mode. I got to finally experience that, and it was very interesting. I wasn't very good at it, but it was great to finally experience that, and I do hope that, more of my friend group will decide to check it out too, so yeah. But yeah, with that done, let's now go on to the next game. Onwards to Toka World Touring Cars. This is a game that, yeah, I kind of played a little bit on a whim. It felt good to play in one of my update videos, so I'm like, yeah, I'll play through it all. It's actually because, yeah, I did have a lot of things to help me out, so yeah. Like, for example, I had a setup from a speedrun that made the driving a little bit easier, so yeah, that obviously helped a bit too. So yeah, this is the third Toka game on the PS1 made by Codemasters, And yeah, instead of focusing on the British Touring Car Championship like the first two games, this game actually goes worldwide with its touring cars. So you're racing touring cars across the whole world, from Japan, Australia, the US, um, South America. So yeah, a lot of interesting tracks because of that. And that's definitely one thing I really enjoyed this game. The tracks variety is very good, and then also yeah, they're very fun to drive on. Like yeah, Monza, Mexico City with those high speeds, for example. And then you also got the tricky tracks like Bathurst and Suzuka as well. So yeah, and then yeah, just yeah, all that felt like really nice to drive actually. Because yeah, with the surf I did, yeah, cars feel very, very grippy, and yeah, even with only a D-pad to control them, it didn't feel too bad. So yeah, um, like yeah, you can definitely have a lot of fun with this, even if yeah, you're only using a standard PS1 controller. So yeah, so that's definitely a lot of fun. And of course, yeah, obviously having this setup from a speedrun helps out a lot too. So yeah. But anyway, so one of the things about this game that was heavily advertised about it was the damage, and also yeah, the AI a little bit too, because yeah, something that touring car racing is very famous for is the being and the banging, and yeah, you definitely do that a lot with the AI in this game because the AI is pretty aggressive, and they also make mistakes from time to time too. But of course, there's damage in this game, so if you're a bit too reckless, you'll end up damaging your engine and you'll slow down a lot. You can try to repair it in the pits though, especially in those races where you need to make a mandatory pit stop. So yeah, so there's that. Um, so yeah, yeah, the being buying can be pretty interesting. Yeah, the damage is pretty decent for a PS1 game. It is kind of strange this game didn't get a PC game because you think that yeah they would go all in on that, but yeah they just decided to stick with the PS1 for this one. So yeah, so that's interesting. And then yeah, the career mode, it's definitely not like my favorite career mode in the world because it's basically just, do a championship and then progress to the next championship. That's basically what it is. But the progression itself is kind of interesting though, because yeah, you start with those regional championships in like one country, then it moves on to basically continental championships. Like there's a European championship, an All American Championship, and then this Asia Pacific Championship, and then finally there's the World Championship where yeah, you go across the whole world. And yeah, the cars actually get faster as you go to tiers too. And yeah, there's some other interesting things too, like the fact that yeah, the points you score go towards unlocking cars. So try to say if you don't need to win every race, it is nice to do so you can unlock more bonus cars. The bonus cars don't do anything in the career mode though. All they're really there for is just to have fun and quick race and with the cheat codes. But there are some very interesting cars beside that. It's like some very obscure sports cars to some very fast um, hypercars, basically, or supercars like the TVR Cerberus V12s. So yeah, there's some interesting bonus cars to go after. So I would recommend trying to chase after them. And then there's also the cheat codes where yeah, you have a bonus achievement that the team asks you to do when when you're going for the championship. And if you are able to succeed it, it's not too hard. It's like either score a amount of points, score this position in the championship, get a certain number of wins or higher, stuff like that. If you're able to do that, you unlock a cheat code, and yeah, those are very fun to mess around because yeah, this is that era of game where cheat codes are very funny and did a lot of funny things. So yeah, it's something we definitely miss about modern games. That's for dang sure. So yeah, and yeah, cheat codes are this. I don't know if they're as good as some of the Colin McRae Rally games that Codemasters also make, but they're pretty funny. So yeah. So again, you could definitely have a lot of fun with that. And yeah, that's basically the game right there. It's a very simple racing game, but yeah, definitely, help lay the foundation for what Codemasters would do in the next generation. Where yeah, they would go on to make the Race Driver series, starting with Toka Race Driver 1. And yeah, that one also decides to expand things even further outside of, just the touring cars. And yeah, with this game, showing off course the world of racing too. I feel like it was definitely a necessary bridge towards those BTCC took against the Race Dragons. That, of course, yeah, the Race Dragons will evolve into Race Grid. So, yeah. Like I said, it could be a very important game because of that. So yeah, it's definitely cool to check this game out because I don't think I got to play it when I was a kid. I think I only got to play the first Toka game on the PS1, and then I did play Race Driver 3 on the PS2. So yeah. So yeah, I think that's everything we got to say about Toka World Touring Cars. So let's go on to our next game. I'm pretty sure this one's going to be a very heavy hitter. Let's talk Elden Ring. And yeah, I'm not joking. I did play Elden Ring during this year. It's thanks to my brother because yeah, he decided to put in 200 hours of Elden Ring as his first Souls game. And yeah, watching him play through the game in his playthroughs after his first playthrough basically made me interested in trying it out on my own. But yeah, this is gonna be quite the learning curve because this is my first From Software game, and yeah, they're known for making the Dark Souls games, the brutal difficulty and all that. But Elden Ring though seemed a lot more manageable, so I did give it a go. It was definitely quite the learning experience though, because again, the controls are definitely something you need to get used to. And I haven't played a 3D game in like forever, so I need to control. I need to hold the controller differently too, so yeah. But eventually I would get somewhat of the hang of it, but yeah, this game is still gonna punish you quite a bit, that's a dang sure. The bosses are very difficult, especially later on, and some of the dungeons are, yeah, kind of torturous sometimes. Sometimes they're alright, sometimes they are pure torture though, and sometimes you do need to go through those torturous ones for side quests. And yeah, my playthrough actually did quite a bit in the game. I beat all the Memorance bosses, and also I did most of the side quests too. So yeah, the thing I didn't do was explore all the caves, because you really don't need to, unless you really want to, because pretty much the only reason to go in a cave it's for a side quest or if there's a piece of equipment you want in there. So yeah, that's something good if you don't want to, hit your head against a brick wall eventually. So yeah. But anyway, so yeah, the thing about Elden Ring though, when compared to I don't know if this is true for the other Dark Souls games, but it's definitely easier to cheese Elden Ring. Like, yeah, of course, the main thing that people are going to talk about are the spirit ashes, where, yeah, you can basically summon an NPC to fight for you. And, yeah, these are really good because, yeah, they draw the aggro away. So, allowing you to actually, focus more on damaging the boss rather than, frantically dodging them, because they are not very good at dodging bosses, that's for dang sure. So, yeah. Um, it is a powerful mechanic, but yeah, they aren't always available for all boss fights, and yeah, you need to upgrade them too, like you would your weapons. So yeah, so that's something else too to consider. They don't completely break the game, but yeah, they do definitely make the game a lot easier. And if you are able to beat the game without them, then yeah, more power to you. So yeah, but anyway, I will say one thing that made me really love Elden Ring so much was the weapons, because yeah, there's a lot of variety here. Many weapon types. You can upgrade them too, and yeah, they all play very differently too, with all the Ashes of War and stuff. Um, Basically the special attack, and yeah, there's some really good ones, even on the basic weaponry. And yeah, it's also very interesting to route your playthrough in terms of what weapons you want to get. That's basically what I did in my first playthrough. So yeah, I went after a very strong early game weapon, and that helped me carry through me for most of the game until I got the weapon I really wanted to use. So yeah, I actually went mostly with bleed builds in my playthrough, focusing on arcane to make the bleeding happen more often. So yeah. And yeah, both the main weapons I used, yeah, they were all about the bleed, so yeah. It's quite fun to do that, so yeah. There's also armor to think about too. Mainly you're thinking about I feel like weight is very important for armor because yeah, sometimes because yeah, you don't want to wear too heavy armor. It could give you good defense, but then you become heavy loaded and you can't roll as well and dodge attacks. So yeah, so you need to keep that in mind. And there's also talismans too. They can also these give you like extra buffs too. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to your loadout. And yeah, that's definitely very interesting because yeah, you can definitely have different builds when it comes to playing Elden Ring. So yeah. And yeah, Exploration, yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Yeah, this is a open world game, that's for dang sure. There's a lot of freedom, but again, it is very interesting to route things out. Figure out what you can able to get even before finding like the first bosses and stuff. It's really interesting. Like, yeah, thanks to my brother stuff, I was able to get really powerful early on. And yeah, it's not too difficult to, run past enemies as well. You do get the horse Torrent, who's able to, run past enemies, especially those that are only on foot and stuff. So yeah, you can't always use them, but in like the open world areas, he's great. For just dodging stuff. So yeah, so there's that. I don't mind the open world too much. It's kind of interesting because yeah, I'm normally not like the biggest fan of open world, but I guess yeah, if you do give me clear instructions on what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing, then yeah, that probably helps out a bit. But I feel like yeah, if you do play Elden Ring a decent amount, you'll figure out eventually like what's the best way you want to play this game, and then you'll find that really good way to play the game that'll make you absolutely enjoy it. So yeah. Anyway, so that's like me all the gameplay stuff. We'll talk a little about the plot because it's also kind of interesting. Um, it's an open world game, so you're basically learning the plot at your own pace. But there are definitely a lot of interesting, NPCs, important characters. You can do side quests to learn more about them too. So yeah, again, a lot of interesting things to learn about because yeah, the lore in this world is definitely very rich, and there's definitely a lot to learn. So get those textbooks open, I guess. And yeah, it was interesting to learn about, certain characters' motivations. Of course, like something like Melina, who you meet very early on, right? The witch is also very interesting because there's a lot going on with her, so yeah. But yeah, the thing about Elden Ring though, and why I think it's such an important game is, yeah, this is a game I will not be forgetting anytime soon, that's actual. So yeah, this game definitely made me, feel like it definitely helped me learn about, the nature of games as well. Like, why do people play games like these, That's definitely one thing that I definitely learned from my playthrough of Elden Ring 2. And then, why did people consider this game Game of the Year 2? And I can definitely see why after playing it myself. And yeah, if you do want to play a Souls game, then yeah, this is definitely a good starting point, in my opinion. So yeah, so yeah, there's just yeah a lot of things about this game. Just just feels so interestingly designed. Like not everything hits a home run because like some of those dungeons suck. Let's not lie about that. But it does feel like yeah, a lot of care and attention was put in for the design of this game, and like about the boss battles, which yeah, some are very good, some feel very BS, but yeah, it is what it is, And some of the locales too. There's just yeah, so much that went into Elden Ring. It felt like. So yeah, that's why there's a lot to talk about. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever play it on the channel one day because I don't think I would do a good job. I'm just kind of glad that I did do a playthrough of it, and I'm still interested in maybe doing more playthroughs one day if I have the time. Although yeah, I did beat this game before I started working, so yeah, that definitely helped out a lot. I definitely don't have as much time to play now, but it's okay. But anyway, definitely glad I got to check out Elden Ring. Who knows? Maybe I'm interested to learn more about other Dark Souls games. We shall see. But anyway, let's move on to our next game then. From one scary game to another, let's talk about Metroid Fusion now. So this is the second Metroid game I got to play. And yeah, I mainly played this so that I could prep myself for Aria of Sorrow, basically. Both are Metroidvania games, I thought that, playing Metroid Fusion alongside it would, one, give me some interesting perspectives, but also, yeah, get me a bit more in the right mindset when it comes to Metroidvanias, because, yeah, Metroid Dread was like only one before this year, so yeah. So yeah, Metroid Fusion. The full Metroid Dread was definitely considered a pretty good starting point because, yeah, unlike other Metroid games, things are a little bit more linear now. You're given very clear direction on where you need to go next, and yeah, that definitely makes the game a lot easier to decipher for a beginner. Again, it's not going to be a super, like, walk in the park. You still need to use your head sometimes to figure out where you need to go next because, yeah, not everything is just one straight road. There will be areas where you need to shoot specific areas, bombs specific areas, and those can definitely catch you off guard on your first playthrough. So or if you're not using a guide, which I don't think you really need to until you want to get 100%. So anyway, in terms of flying, Samus is definitely a bit weaker to start out. Her fusion suit isn't the strongest thing in the world, but she can still, battle pretty decently well. She can still shoot in 8 different directions. And her arsenal obviously gets very strong by the end. And there's a lot of interesting weapons in this game too. So I definitely got a lot of use out of power bonds too, because they can basically clear the screen and reveal the hidden collectibles for you without needing to use a guide. So that was very nice when you get those around like the middle to late points of the game. Of course, there's definitely some other interesting upgrades, some only in this game, like the diffusion missiles, for example. I believe it's what it's called. You can charge up your ice missile, and then it will do a spread attack once it contacts something. And ice missiles too. This is the first game to have them, because Samus is part Metroid now, so she can't use the ice beam anymore. So so there's that. And of course there's the speed boost, which is useful for some pretty difficult shine spot puzzles, I must admit. But with enough trial and error though, you'll get past them. So so again, I do like how Samus controls. Exploring isn't too bad either. Again, it's still pretty linear, but if you do use a head, you might find like some collectibles on your own and stuff. I need to look things up, which is really cool. So and then there's a lot of boss fights too. They kind of feel a little bit trial and error too. Early on the patterns are pretty easy to, learn and observe, but later on, you get, there's a lot to take in, and some of these bosses will give you a lot of shit if you're, if you decide to just brute force them, which unfortunately I did, and that definitely caused a lot of problems for me, but of course, it's very satisfying to, take them out and get new abilities, so but again, I did have a lot of problems, to be honest, so but I think, outside the gameplay, which very good way to introduce Metroid to a new audience, I must say. I think another thing that makes Metroid Fusion stand out was its story and the world you're in, basically. Because I played this in Halloween, and it's the very thing that I did because our main enemy in this game is the X-Parasite. These guys are incredibly creepy because they mimic the appearance and abilities of their host when they affect them, and then they can even multiply too. So you're gonna be finding a lot of these. Basically, every enemy is gonna be something in X is mimicking. But it's not the worst thing in the world, despite the fact that Samus almost died because of an X in the beginning of the game. The fusion suit is able to absorb the X, so now they're no longer a threat to us. So but then again, that did come at the cost of not being very strong at the beginning, and also not being able to use the ice beam anymore. So and it's also cool to see the baby Metroid save Samus yet again. That's also really interesting too. So there's a lot to go into. Again, I think this plot's pretty good, and what happens during the plot too is incredibly interesting too. Like this game can get very scary sometimes, and then some of the other things you learn too, there's definitely a lot of nasty surprises, let's just say. So I'll admit that again, playing something like Dread before this kind of spoiled my experience of it, because Dread is just so smooth. Fusion could never, copy how good Dread feels to play, but Fusion did what it needed to on the Game Boy Advance as a Game Boy Advance launch title, people do. So again, it's a great game. And if you want to get into Metroid, not a bad choice. I think I prefer Dread as an entry point actually, despite how late in the timeline it is, because again, easy to learn, just feels so good to play. But without Metroid Fusion, we wouldn't have Metroid Dread. So it's a very important game, and I'm glad that it helped me, refresh my mind when it came to Metroidvania games, so I could play Aria of Sorrow very good. I don't know why I want to call it Aria of the Sorrow. That's definitely not what it's called. So but I'm definitely glad. And out of 2 games, it's a bit difficult. I do think that the RPG mechanics maybe make me like Aria of Sorrow a little bit more, but Metroid Fusion though is still very good in its own right though. Both games are pretty neck and neck, I must say. So not really sure which one I like better, but that's okay. So now let's go on to the last game we need to talk about. our last game that we need to talk about today is Pokemon Legends CA. So, the newest Pokemon game. Definitely heard all sorts of opinions about this one, so yeah, I really wanted to play it myself, so yeah, I could, get my own views on it too, and yeah, as it would turn out, yeah, this would be my first Switch 2 game basically, so yeah. Again, this is a game that's very weird for me to rate because, again, I actually ended up enjoying it quite a bit, to be honest. But again, I'm not so sure if I'm being, too soft on it, Because, yeah, comparing this game to Elden Ring, yeah, it's definitely night and day when it comes to, kind of open world-like games, so yeah. But what it does do, though, is very decent, so yeah. Because, yeah, this game has an entirely new battle system because it is a Legends game, so yeah. Well, yeah, basically, instead of, needing to think about accuracy and power, you're thinking more about, cooldowns, move animations, alongside power, so yeah. So, this actually led to some very interesting gameplay because, yeah, it isn't always just about, put on the strongest moves on your Pokemon. You may want to think about, what moves best synergize with what the Pokemon wants to do, and also what moves, work well together. So, like, if you have, like, two close range attacks, having one that's a bit slower and then having a quick one afterwards, that could be a decent combo. And then, yeah, because of these new mechanics, some moves get a little bit better as a result. A teleporting move, like for example Dragon Rush or Heavy Slam, it's a lot harder to dodge those now because they track. And then Fly and Dig are also quite good in this game because, yeah, you actually can't use Protect against them because you need to target to be able to use moves. So, yeah, that's a bit interesting. So, yeah. So there's that. So, yeah, battling, yeah, it feels really good, to be honest, in this game. Especially when, yeah, you have a good team, you're able to sit around, and all the Pokemon have some really good moves to use. So, yeah, I do think the battling is actually quite good, to be honest. And now, of course, there's Mega Evolution. Mega Evolution returns, so let's talk about it a little bit. It's a little bit different because it now has a meter tied to it that you need to charge up. You can charge this up by using moves, basically. There's other ways to charge it too, but that's in more specific scenarios, like the Rogue Mega Battles. But yeah, once you do have, the Mega Ring charged, and your Pokemon's able to Mega Evolve with the Mega Stone, then yeah, you can do that. And yeah, of course, just like Mega Evolution before, the Pokemon gets increased stats. It may also get a new type. Abilities we don't know about yet, but because this game doesn't have any, but we'll maybe learn about that one day. And then, yeah, another bonus is how plus moves interact with Mega Evolution. Normally you need to use a little bit of Mega Energy to use a plus move with a regular Pokemon, but when it's Mega Evolved, all of its moves are plus moves no matter what, so yeah. So you can just keep using those, and yeah, Mega Evolution is the perfect way to deal with the Rogue Mega Evolution battles, which, yeah, you need to do these to progress the plot. That's one of the parts of the progression they need to go through, so yeah. Those are actually really fun battles, to be honest, because, yeah, the attacks you need to dodge, you need to dodge out the way like you're playing Elden Ring, which is very funny. And yeah, having like a good type matchup, having the right Mega Pokemon to use against them, that was really fun too. So yeah, but of course, I think the main... Let's talk about the actual main thing you're going to be doing in this game, other than, catching Pokemon, which it looks very similar to Legends Arceus. And again, catching Pokemon is rewarded quite a bit thanks to Mabel's research. And yeah, it looks pretty similar to Legends Arceus. So yeah, let's go on to the other main gameplay aspect, and that's the Battle Zones, where yeah, you need to basically rank up in the ZA Royale. You need to get to A rank. And yeah, to do that, what you need to do is you need to battle trainers in these Battle Zones. And these are interesting because you can actually sneak attack them. You can basically sneak attack the trainers here to get like an advantage against them. It's pretty funny to do. So yeah, and then yeah, it's all about, being battles quickly because you only have so much time, and then, trying to get as much money as possible, actually. You can do this by getting a lot of points. Defeating a certain number of trainers multiplies that, so yeah, defeating like 30 trainers a night gives you like tons, so money isn't too much of a problem if you're able to, do a good job like that, so yeah. So yeah, I actually really like, buying my way through the ZA Royale. And then, yeah, that leads to a promotion match, and then yeah, beat them from the promotion match, use rank up. So yeah. Explorations can't win this game because again, like I said, I just played Elden Ring not too long before, so yeah, that was a bit of a culture shock anyway. So yeah, with this game, yeah, it's not too bad to me, honestly, because yeah, there's decent amount to explore, and then of course there's also the rooftops too, where yeah, you might be able to find nice things or rare Pokemon as well, but normally they're kind of hard to find, or you need to find the lift. Sometimes maybe you need to do a side quest too. The side quests are also kind of interesting too as well, showing you know different Pokemon, making you go catch different Pokemon too, all that good stuff. So yeah, I kind of enjoyed the side quests in the base game. So yeah. And yeah, I guess one thing I didn't mention about, you know, catching the Pokemon was the wild zones. Yeah, these are in Lumos now. It's where you catch all your wild Pokemon. As you, this game only takes place in Lumos, which again, you could argue that, again, you're only really seeing the same place throughout the whole game, but it didn't really bother me too much. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that I like playing Tokyo Extreme, but I don't know. Yeah, there's decent amount to find when you're exploring. There's also the colorful screws, which are the 100 item collectible, you know, all that good stuff. You do get decent reward for finding those though, like better EXP, better money, all that good stuff, so yeah. And yeah. So yeah, gameplay wise, yeah, it's satisfying. I don't think it's like the best game I played this year, obviously, because you know, like comparing this game to Elden Ring, Trails to Azure, and Tokyo Extreme, it's definitely very lacking compared to those, but it's still very fun. That's what's important. So yeah, and yeah, definitely had a lot of fun with the Pokemon I used because all of them had new Mega Evolutions, and they were also really fun to use. So yeah. And then, of course, there's the plot too, which I think is fine, to be honest, too. Like, the main cast, like your fellow team and set members, then the important trainers you fight near the end of the Sierra Royale, they are really good, to be honest. Like, yeah, they really stand out. They have very big personalities, and some of them feel like they were geniusly designed as well. I'm looking at one certain trainer when that comes to mind, so yeah. But yeah. So yeah, again, this game, yeah, it definitely has it feels very weird talking about this game, that's the thing, sure, because again, there's, again, it definitely doesn't feel like, you know, it definitely doesn't feel like, you know, Game of the Year or anything like that. It doesn't feel like special or anything like that too, but it was at least fun to play, and that's what's important, right? So yeah, I had fun playing it, and yeah, maybe you will too, because again, there's definitely a decent amount to get excited about, I feel, if you're into Pokemon, so yeah. There's also the DLC, but we're not going to talk about the DLC right now, so yeah. Another time, I should say another time, so yeah. But anyway, that was the last game we need to talk about, so yeah, let's wrap things up by having my final thoughts. Alright, some closing thoughts now. Yeah, 2025, yeah, I did so much this year. Like, yeah, so much variety of games is one thing. Again, half of them are racing games, but I felt like, yeah, I tried out so many different kinds of games this year, especially with, you know, Elden Ring 2 being such a huge achievement to take on too. So, yeah. Again, there's a lot to be proud of, especially because, yeah, I also, you know, I now have a job now too, so yeah, that's what allowed me to get the desktop and record such nice quality gameplay throughout this part, and also, yeah, my Tokyo Extreme Racer playthrough too. Of course, yeah, that also allowed me to play Tokyo Extreme Racer 2, which is also an extremely big deal too, because yeah, that's Game of the Year right there for me, so yeah, it's great to, you know, show that game off and just show everyone why, yeah, I really enjoyed that game so much, you know, so yeah. So that's great stuff right there. But yeah, and of course, yeah, I can't thank everyone enough who's joined me on this journey too. All my best friends, my brother, my parents too, you know, everyone's just been so supportive of me throughout this year. And, you know, everyone's giving me the encouragement to, you know, go out there and do a good job at all these games too, so yeah. So that's great to see as well. And yeah, I hope things will continue with 2026 as well. So yeah. So again, on Backlog it has a Game of the Year thing, which, yeah, I only played 2 games from this year, so how about I try to decipher this, because again, it's going to be difficult, because yeah, there's a lot to think about, so yeah. So in terms of best gameplay, again, it's tough because I would either go Tokyo Extreme Racer or Elden Ring probably in terms of gameplay. And yeah, Trails to Zero isn't far off either, so yeah. So yeah, it'd definitely be one of those two, but yeah, I'm not really sure what, to be honest. I guess maybe TXR is less punishing, so maybe I prefer that a little bit more. So yeah, maybe I'd do that. And then yeah, best narrative, that's easily Trails to Azure, because again, amazing plot. Absolutely amazing plot, so yeah. Best art direction, now that one is very difficult, because yeah, like, what game like looks the best is the thing out of all the games I played this year. Again, I think it's probably comes down to, you know, TXR, and because TXR looks really beautiful. I mean, actually no, maybe Need State Odyssey Remastered. That game also looks like extremely good no matter what settings you're on, so yeah. Elden Ring also looks really good too, but yeah, maybe I'll give this one to Hot Pursuit Remastered actually. I just really like, you know, the environment, the cars look great too, and also aesthetically too, the cars sound great too, so yeah. Best soundtrack. I mean, yeah, the easy answer is Tradition because yeah, it's Final Boss theme, all the boss themes to be honest are extremely good. That's probably the easy choice right there. ZA wasn't bad though. I also like the ZA soundtrack to be honest too. It had a lot of fun battle themes as well. And then TXR, let's just say there's one theme that might make it best soundtrack, let's just say. But yeah, it probably would make sense to give this one to Trails to Azure as well. And if I best multiplayer, we don't really care that much, but hey, maybe Elden Ring? So yeah, I think Game of the Year, like I said, yeah. Judging by that, it probably should be Trails to Azure. Is again, maybe best soundtrack. But again, I'm not so sure if it is best soundtrack, because it could very well be TXR as well, so yeah. So yeah, I think, yeah, considering all of that, yeah, it's pretty close between, you know, Tokyo Extreme Racer, Elden Ring, and Trails to Azure. But again, considering this is me we're talking about, yeah, it has to be Tokyo Extreme Racer, right? So yeah. And yeah, it actually helped that it actually came out this year, so yeah. So there's that. But anyway, let's talk about next year a little bit. So of course, the game in the background is Metaphor ReFantazio. And yeah, I do plan to play that next year. Again, I'm not so sure if it's going to be on the channel or not. I'm still keeping the options open, because again, I did play the demo, so I can still play at least a little bit of the game and then get a feel for it before making my decision. So that's good. Again, it's also why I'm not watching a playthrough of it that's going on. Because yeah, again, I want to see if I can play through Metaphor very blindly. Basically, as blindly as I possibly can. So yeah, so we'll see how that goes. Because yeah, I feel like because I did it with Cold Steel, and Cold Steel 1 and 2 became some of my favorite games, it would be cool to do that with Metaphor as well. And yeah, I was also pretty blind on the Sony games too, so yeah. Outside of that, of course, there's Paramount Fortune's Leave. We'll see how that goes, because again, Three Houses Discourse, but yeah. Well, yeah, I'll definitely be happy to, you know, talk about that game on the channel. I'm not so sure how I'm going to do it. It's pretty fun to talk about the units the way I did with Engage all that time ago, so yeah, who knows, maybe I'll do something similar once I have a good grasp of the characters. We shall see. And then, of course, there's Screamer. We now have its release date in March. Again, that game really intrigues me. I do want to see a bit more gameplay of it before I, you know, commit to buying it. But again, it's a story-driven racer game. It wants to be very different with its driving. It's not afraid to take risks, that's what I'm sure. And yeah, the voice cast too is not to be trifled with too. Like, yeah, if you like Persona, you'll probably like some of the voice cast, let's just say on the English side. So yeah. So yeah. So we'll see about that. And yeah, again, I'll definitely, yeah, if Screamer does turn out to be, you know, the good game that I hope it becomes, we'll see. But again, racer games have been burning people a lot, especially this year, so yeah. Car races are fine. Racer games though, yeah. We had, you know, Recreation, Project Motor Racing, and Rensort, all of them burn a lot of people, so yeah, I want to be a bit careful when it comes to racing games, so yeah. Outside the ones I know of, I obviously like Tokyo Extreme Racer, but yeah. Those are the main games, there's probably some other games too. There's also Legends CA DLC, which, yeah, we'll think about one day, maybe. We'll see. um, and of course, there's some other games too on my wish list too. Like, yeah, I'm actually really feeling Digimon Time Stranger. Um, my first Digimon game potentially too. So yeah, if I can get a good price, maybe I'll think about it. And of course, there's Persona 4 Revival 2. I don't know if it's gonna come out next year, but we shall see. Yeah, that's kind of why I want to do Persona 4 Golden soon, because yeah, that will set me up for Revival pretty decently. So yeah, that's mainly like everything about that, and then we'll see what playthroughs they decide to do next year as well. TXR is still going on quite strongly, and then after that, we'll definitely be Black and White 2. I don't know why it was sounding so unsure about that, because I'm definitely practicing Black and White 2, so it's going to be next. And then after that, we'll see, because again, it could very well be Persona 4, or if I'm not feeling another long RPG to cover, maybe it'll be something shorter, but we shall see. But yeah, that's kind of what I was looking at the moment. And then of course, there's obviously other games to think about too, like Fire Emblem Awakening and Metaphor. So yeah, and who knows, maybe more games will pop up. We shall see. But yeah, at the moment, that's what we're rocking. So yeah. Second, like I said, yeah, there's a lot to look forward to in 2026, and yeah, I can't wait to experience it all with you guys. So yeah, and of course, I can't thank everyone enough who decided to watch through all this. Again, these end of year videos end up being some of my favorites because again, there's so much to think about, there's so much to cover as well, so much thoughts to think about too, because yeah, again, I did so much this year. The friends I talked to also did a lot too, and yeah, I'm definitely very proud of everyone I got to watch play games this year as well. So yeah, there's a lot to think about because of that. So yeah. But anyway, so yeah, here's to a good 2025, onwards to a hopefully even better 2026. And yeah, like I said, a lot of games to think about next year, so yeah, we shall see. I can't wait to hear what, other people are planning to play as well. That'll also be very cool, so yeah. So this will be me signing off, and yeah, uploads will continue, obviously. And yeah, I'll see you guys again for my next part of my TXR playthrough at this point, I guess. So yeah, or anything else, obviously, you want to watch from me. So yeah, look forward to all that, and yeah, I'll see you guys again for that.